everyone, so today's video is something I thought would be really fun to do, and it's basically figuring out how much my makeup collection is worth. So I got inspired to do this by Tara Brooke. I saw her do a video like this not too long ago, and I just thought it was a really fun idea just to see exactly what I have and how much it is worth. So I calculated each category separately. So for each category, I'm going to tell you what the number count is, and then what the price of all of the products add up to, and then also what it averages out to. So technically what each product in each category is worth if you do the average. I don't know if that makes sense, but hopefully it will make more sense when we get into the video. And also with these, some of them were either discontinued or are like little sample sizes that I may have either got for free or whatnot. So some of them I just kind of estimated the price. Like for sample sizes, I usually do like $5 or $10 depending on what it is. And then for the discontinued item, I tried to figure out what I paid for it. And then also a lot of these I do not buy full price. Most of my makeup I don't buy full price unless it's like drugstore products, but especially the high-end products, I pretty much 99% of the time never buy high-end products full price. So this is technically not how much I paid for them. I did just the retail price, so I probably paid a lot less for these products, but I just calculated it using the actual retail price, even though that's not what I paid for it. So yeah, these estimates probably are gonna be high compared to what I actually paid for them. But I'm gonna go category by category in order of how I would apply it to my face, and then at the end I will tell you the total and what it averages out to. So the first one is primer, and I have 8 primers in my collection. This is also kind of gonna give away my makeup inventory, but hopefully my makeup inventory will be even lower by the end of the year. So the total cost for primers are $179.93. So then if you divide that by 8, which is the number of primers I have, for each primer it averages out to $22.49. So for primer, that is kind of very expensive. It's more on the high-end side, but I also got a lot of my primers from BoxyCharm, so I barely paid anything for them. So $22 is very expensive for the primer category, but again, the majority of my primers I didn't buy even close to full price, and the stuff that I do buy is mostly drugstore. So the next category is foundation, and I have 11 foundations, which the cost totals to $123.91. So if you average that out, the average is $11.26, which is pretty good. It's like a drugstore price, so I'm pretty happy with that price. And also, all of my foundations are pretty much drugstore, so I'm not surprised by that. I don't really buy high-end foundation and really base products, so that's a really good price point for me. Next is concealer, and I have 7 concealers in my collection, which totaled to $54.98. And then if you average that out, the average is $7.85, which for concealer is really good. That's like even less than a drugstore price. That's like a really cheap drugstore price for a concealer. So I'm also very happy with this. And again, with this one, like I don't really get concealers in BoxyCharms or anything like that, and I also tend not to buy high-end concealers, so I'm also not surprised by this price. And then the next category is powders, and I have 8 powders, which totals out to $127.96. And then if you average that, it's exactly $16 per powder. So pretty much all of my powders are drugstore, besides maybe like 2 of them, which are higher end, and I did get in BoxyCharm. So I would have ended up paying a lot less for this, but $16 is still like a pretty drugstore price, a little bit above drugstore, but that's not too bad. And then for the next category is bronzer, which I only have 7 bronzers, and it totaled out to $88.47, and then the average for each bronzer is $12.64, which again is a drugstore price for a bronzer. And I do have one travel size bronzer that's high end, but again, I probably got that in like a gift set or something like that. So I'm also happy with my bronzer category. It's pretty low at like a good drugstore price. And I'm also not surprised by that, because bronzer is another product I don't really buy from high-end brands. Then the next category we have is highlighters, and I have 25 highlighters in my collection, which totals out to $409.46. And then so the average for each highlighter is $16.38, which again is a pretty good like drugstore middle end price. It's like a little bit above drugstore, but it's still not too bad. And I do have a lot of highlighters that are mini sizes, so I think that's how it ended up being so low, because a lot of my highlighters are more high end, but a lot of them are also mini sizes, so then it averages out to kind of be a drugstore price. But I guess that also kind of is a lot if it's $16 for a little mini highlighter technically, because it averages out for each highlighter to be like over $16. So for a mini highlight, that is pretty expensive. But like I have the ABH Amrezy highlight too, which on its own is $38. So I feel like that also brought the price up a little bit. And then the next category is blushes. I have 21 blushes in my collection, which the total cost of those is $295.96. And then it averaged out to $14.09 for each blush. So that's again more like a drugstore price, a little bit above drugstore. So that's not too bad. And I feel like I do have some higher end blushes, like the Cover FX Little Blush Duo, and also I have a bunch of blushes from Clinique that I got for a really cheap price off of Poshmark. So my blushes are, I feel like I have some high end, but I also have a good balance of drugstore in there too. So I feel like that's not surprising to me, because it's about drugstore price, a little bit above, because I tend to also not buy high-end blushes unless like I get it off of Poshmark for a really good deal. So I don't pay anywhere near full price for them, which I think is good. And then we have face palettes, which I have 19 face palettes, which totals out to $598.99. And so the average for each face palette is $31.53, which for a face palette, I mean, you're kind of getting like a little bit of everything, so I feel like that's not too bad, but that is definitely more on the high end side. And I don't know how I have 19 face palettes, because I guess I also counted my little duos, like the Natasha Denona Bronze and Glow little mini palette, and I also counted the Kosas little highlight and blush duo in my face palettes. So, but those are also like, should technically be cheaper, but I don't know, face palettes, these are on the more expensive side that I wasn't really expecting, because I guess I do have a lot more higher end face palettes, because usually they're like a better deal to buy the face palettes instead of like I have a Tarte face palette, so that's a better deal than buying like 5 individual Tarte blushes. So again, above $30 is kind of high for a face palette. I'm kind of surprised by that, but also not really, because a lot of my face palettes are on the more high-end side. Next we have eyebrow products, and I did declutter a lot of eyebrow products, and I'm currently just trying to go through them so that I only have like one pencil going at a time. But I do have 5 eyebrow products, which totals out to $61.50, and then the average for each eyebrow product is $12.30. So really I have like a few brow pencils, one pomade, and then a brow gel, so that's what all of these products are together. So that's not too bad. That's like a little bit above a drugstore price, but it's pretty close to a drugstore price, and I'm hoping to get that down to like less by the end of the year, because my plan is to only have one eyebrow product going at a time. So I'm not really mad about that. That's not too bad, I don't think. And eyebrow products is something I'm not really worried about, But the next category is eyeshadow palettes, which I have 45 eyeshadow palettes, which totals to $1,396.49. So if you average that out, the total for each face palette is $31.03. Or not face palette, sorry, eyeshadow palette. So each eyeshadow palette being $31 is very expensive. And again, with eyeshadow palettes, most of them that are high end I have bought off Poshmark or got like on sale or a really good deal. So I definitely didn't actually pay this much for each of my face palettes. And or why do I keep saying face palettes? Eyeshadow palettes. So I also feel like I don't have many drugstore eyeshadow palettes, so I'm not really surprised by this. But basically the eyeshadow palettes I do have are high end, but I pretty much paid like a drugstore middle end price for it because I never buy them full price. So yeah, I know I have a lot more higher end eyeshadow palettes, so that's not really surprising to me that it totals out to over $30. And then I also did single shadows separately. So I have 41 single shadows, which totals to $419.95. And then the average is $10.24, which is kind of high for a single shadow, because also I have a bunch of ColourPop single shadows, which I think are like $6 or $8. So I felt like that's what brought it down. But then I also have like a Natasha Denona single shadow, and yeah, I don't know, that kind of surprised me that it's over $10 because most of my single shadows are from ColourPop, which are pretty inexpensive. But again, $10 is like not too bad. It's just a little bit over like a drugstore price. So I guess that didn't surprise me too much. And the next category is eyeliners, and I have 11 eyeliners, which totals out to $121. So that equals $11 for each eyeliner, which is on the more, I don't know, maybe that's actually kind of like a drugstore price. But again, I have a bunch of ColourPop eyeliners, which are like, I think maybe $8 or $6. So that did kind of surprise me. But I've also gotten a few eyeliners in BoxyCharm, which tend to be more on the higher end side. So I guess it's not too surprising considering that. And yeah, I'm hoping to get my eyeliners down a little bit because I don't really use eyeliner. But yeah, so $11 isn't too bad. It's like a drugstore price, a little bit above a drugstore price maybe. So now we're getting into lip products, and I did split them up into 4 different categories. So for lip liners, I have 21 lip liners, and the total for that is $162.64. And then it averages out to $7.74, which is actually a really good price. That's like drugstore. That's like a really good drugstore price, so I'm not surprised by that because I do have a lot of ColourPop lip liners and also a lot of like some lip liners from Wet n Wild, which are only like $3. And I definitely don't really buy high-end lip liners. I do have a couple from Bite Beauty, obviously, that I got on sale. I didn't pay full price for, but the Wet n Wild ones kind of average it out to be a better drugstore price. And we tend not to get lip liners in BoxyCharm, so I think there might be like 1 or 2, but not really. I don't really have any high-end lip liners, so I'm definitely not surprised at that average price. And then the next one we have is liquid lipsticks, which I have 29 liquid lipsticks, which totals to $269.59, and then it averages out to $9.30, which I was actually kind of surprised at how low this is because liquid lipsticks, I have gotten a bunch of high-end liquid lipsticks in my BoxyCharm, so that probably brought the price up a little bit. But I guess I also do have a few lipsticks that are mini sizes, so that definitely brought it down a lot. And the liquid lipsticks that I've purchased are either from like ColourPop or like really drugstore brands that are like very cheap, like Wet n Wild and stuff like that. So the more higher end ones I have gotten in BoxyCharms, I tend not to buy, like I don't really buy liquid lipsticks anymore, so I haven't bought any in a very long time. And then the next category is lipsticks, which I have 35 lipsticks, which totals to $303.95, and then it averages out to $8.68, which is a pretty good drugstore price. I'm definitely not surprised by that because a lot of my lipsticks are from ColourPop, which are really inexpensive. And did I say liquid lipsticks? I meant lipsticks. I'm getting all these categories confused. But for lipsticks, I'm not surprised at the $8.68 average price because most of my lipsticks I buy obviously are from drugstore. I don't really buy high-end lipsticks, and I do also have a few that are mini sizes, so that probably also brought the price down. And then the last category before we get to the total is lip gloss, and I have 38 lip glosses, which totals to $301.97, and then it averages out to $7.95. So again, I'm not surprised by that. It's a pretty good drugstore price. A lot of my lip glosses are from like ColourPop and inexpensive brands, unless the few I got from BoxyCharm that are more high-end. But again, I do also have a few mini size lip glosses, so that also brought the price down. So now for the most exciting part, the totals of everything. So also you'll notice I didn't include like mascara or setting spray just because I pretty much only have like one mascara going at a time and one setting spray, so I felt like that wasn't really relevant or necessary. So this isn't my complete makeup collection. But for the totals, so the total number of products was 331. And then if you added up the price of all of them, it totaled out to $4,916.75. So that's like about $5,000 for my whole makeup collection. That's also buying all of the products full price though. So I definitely did not spend that much money on all of these products. And when you think about it, that is a lot of money. But that's also over the course of like 5 or 8 years. So it averages out to $14.85 per product, which if you think about some categories is really not bad, but that price for like a eyeliner is a little bit on the more expensive side. But also that's like a pretty average drugstore price for most products, I feel like. Especially like eyeshadow palettes and face palettes, I feel like would always mostly be more expensive than that. So my collection is like at a good drugstore price, I guess you could say, because it averages out just to a little over $14. So, I mean, I already knew my collection was mostly drugstore, besides the few high-end products that I have gotten like at a very good deal or from like BoxyCharm and things like that. So yeah, I am really happy with my collection right now, especially because I just finished decluttering everything, which there will be a few declutter videos coming soon, which I already filmed, or they might already be up, but I will have those linked if you're interested in those. And yeah, hopefully my end of the year inventory will show some progress, and I will be able to roll out a few more products, obviously, because I am doing a few project pans, which all those playlists will be linked down below in the description if you're interested in those. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it was interesting in some way. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and I do post new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I actually want to start posting on Sunday as well. So let me know if you guys would like to see an extra video every week from me, so 4 videos instead of 3, and also if you have anything specific you want to see from me, let me know down below in the comments. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you next time.